with another epic episode of the VM Wealthwise Podcast. And if you are tuning in for the very first time, a very special welcome to you. Now, this week we wanted to switch things up and not just, to discuss a topic that we really have our ears perking up. Now, we'll be discussing opportunities in tech and more so the evolution of tech and its impact on investing. To help us discuss this topic today, we have a full house. So let me start off with the goddess over there, Godiva Golding, and she is a tech enthusiast, content development wizard, passionate nation builder. Amongst her list of accomplishments is her role as CEO and founder of Steam House Network. Godiva, you're out of breath now.
Oh, she may not know how to find so much something, but let's just stick with founder.
Welcome, Godiva.
Thanks for having me, love.
And over here, sitting to my right, I have Ingrid Riley. She is a pioneering Caribbean startup ecosystem builder, and she is behind the Silicon Carib, the trailblazing and disruptive ecosystem building network that helps the Caribbean entrepreneurs get smarter about technology and business through information, education, and community. Ingrid, welcome to the VM Wealthwise Podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Wow. Whew. And also to my right, Mr. Adrian Dunkley. Now, Adrian, he runs a data analytics firm in Kingston and has recently opened a second location in the US. Wow. His company, Star Apple Analytics, did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it.
Uses data analytics, artificial intelligence, and data science to uncover actionable insights for companies, thus helping them to make the best decisions. Walk on, Adrian.
Good. I stay.
And last but certainly, definitely not least, my boss, the boss of VM Wealth Management, CEO of VM Wealth Management Limited, Mr. Rezworth Burchenson. Hi, sir.
Walk on.
Sir, no, we're not going to do that. Hi, Rez.
Hey, what's up?
All right. So before we kick things off, as a reminder, you can find us on vmwealthwise.buzzsprout.com or check out our LinkedIn page at VM Wealth Management. Don't forget to hop on over to YouTube at our VM Wealth Management YouTube channel. You can listen this podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Now, to the meat of the matter, opportunities in tech. Now, so my first question, and anybody can jump in, what is the most remarkable evolution you have seen in the tech industry in the last 5 to 10 years?
Too many.
All right, Adrian, start us off.
Too many. Hyper automation. So companies are able to take a lot of their processes and then just flip a switch and then fully automate it. Obviously, that has an impact on jobs for individuals. So we need to look at it from both ends, efficiency as well as where it's affecting individuals. Blockchain, beyond all the hype and scammers, there's going to be a big benefit for that across industries. Obviously, artificial intelligence, I'm a little biased, but reaching a point where AI can definitely support a lot of industries. So many.
Right?
I would say specific to the field of investments, how tech has enabled so many more persons to come into the investment space by using various attractive platforms. Robinhood is one. And so that's globally, but also I'm seeing just by leveraging the tech platforms, a lot more younger Jamaicans are very much interested in investments. I would say that the rise in the number of persons that are trading Jamaican stocks is led by the retail investor And a lot of those persons are below the age of 30, and they're very informed, and obviously trying to create lots of value. So I'm very excited about that.
Thank you so much, Rez. Godiva.
There's so many. 5 to 10 years, I'm thinking the Internet of Things. I focus more on hardware and hardware that connects to the internet. There's increasing processing power that has really enabled a lot of the things that we're now able to do with AI. And underlying that too is just cloud infrastructure. So half of what you would be doing in like big data and data analytics is not based on a local machine anymore. You're able to like capitalize on like how server banks have evolved, and we really just have laid the groundwork to just go deeper in terms of digital tech. The cloud infrastructure, Internet of Things mean that we can go into hardware. Your fridge can be connected to the internet, your washing machine, whatever it is. And just like thinking, being able to handle all of that data, just the algorithms that would have to come into play, what we would have to do in terms of improving hardware itself. The fact that NVIDIA, this is quite an aside, but the fact that NVIDIA, their GPU is the main processor for some of even the data analytics that we look at, things that people would have traditionally used for video games is being used to process data. I think those little shifts are really important, and just they're the underlying current for a lot of what we're able to do now. The fact that we can democratize tech, that like any young person coming up can just have all of these digital tools widely and freely available to them to just build out platforms, whether we're talking about doing systems, whether we're talking about doing no code, whether we're talking about doing actual code. There's a lot that has changed that would have been attributed to those three things: cloud, the Internet of Things, and just great processing power.
Thank you so much for that. And Adrian over here itching to chime in. You know, what do you want to add to that?
I completely agree.
Okay.
That was me.
Okay.
Really?
Ingrid?
For me, it's just simply been access. And there's a pretty much low to no barrier to access to information and access to opportunity, access to possibilities. And for me, that is the greatest thing. It's if you want to learn a new skill, you can. If you want to start a new business, you can. If you want to hire or grab a talent, you can. If you want to get somebody to invest in you, you can. And for me, it has always been, how do we let more people know about the digital possibilities?
Awareness.
That is really at their fingertips. And how you spend your time online will really determine where you get to in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's better that you spend your time accessing information, accessing people who are smarter than you, accessing, people who are more skilled than you, accessing opportunities, and also what I call allowing your spirit of experimentation to run wild by learning new things, by trying new things and failing, and building up that resilience, building up that skill bank. So for me, it's very personal, it's very micro. And that for me, I think once more people have access to a whole bunch of different things and recognize that they have the access and leverage that access, then it will spill over to a whole bunch of different things.
So what do you believe will generate that access or help to push that access? I think it's awareness. And
absolutely.
So you guys are in the space, do you believe that you can provide that awareness, especially in this economy in Jamaica, for young entrepreneurs, young investors? They see a glimpse of it, but they don't know how to access. They're not 100% aware of, what to do, what route to take to get to where an Adrian is, or where a Godiva is, or where an Ingrid Riley is, or even where Rez is.
That's the story of Silicon Carib for the last 15 years. It's really been about how do we expose young people who are already in it. Because we started with people who are already basically, learning and doing some interesting things when it comes to accessing the internet, seeing the possibilities and turning that into a business or a career. And we've been doing that for the past 15 years. We've done over 300 events across 10 Caribbean countries and a diaspora. We have helped tens of thousands of people, and also just people who want to just get into a digital career or they want to start a business. We've done that through our events, through our communities, and through our media platforms like our blog and our websites and our email newsletters. And so we'll continue to do that. And of course, that has led us to partnering with various corporates, various entities, development agencies, and governments to do just that. And so for me, Silicon Carib is doing that, but a lot more others are doing it. We have a lot more other communities that are doing it online, from your Slash Roots to there's not like a list. Carbon Women in Tech, that are these micro communities, whether they're developers, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're investors, whether they're looking for talent, whether they're programmers, whatever may interest them in the tech or digital field, there is a micro community on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google Groups, whatever it is, you can find it. It's a beautiful thing right now.
Thank you so much for that, Ingrid. Adrian, what are some of the other opportunities you see for entrepreneurs and investors within the tech industry?
There's a lot. I'd say, as Ingrid mentioned, the community. So a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of just starting out with no real guidance. They have a passion. They want to go for it. They don't necessarily know where it's going to end up. They may not have enough backing, funding, but they know they want to do it. So technology allows you basically to break down actual barriers across different continents and countries and regions. You can access information freely. Godiva has mentioned the data's online, the information's online, knowledge is online. All this research that Google is doing, for instance, you can access like all of that for free, right? You can rebuild pretty much components of Google with their support, with their assistance, and they're completely happy for that. So being able to access that global community of individuals, being able to get access to free or low-cost technology, and as I've said, no code, I think is extremely important. That's something that entrepreneurs need to tap into, because there's going to be a money crunch. You can't afford everything.
Right.
You don't have to. At this age, if you have an idea, you can just build it without any money. When it gets to scalability, that's something else. But you can start a company now pretty much
in tech.
Yeah, with sense.
With
with sense.
with sense.
Yeah, with sense.
Absolutely.
You can.
Wow.
You can,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's why I tell people that it's not a matter of I think one of the best things I always tell people that say, have an interest in tech or digital is like, one, join a community, whether it's online or go to an event. Invest in learning something. There are more than one ways of skinning the cat. And there's no one path to success in terms of a digital career or you being a successful tech entrepreneur. There are myriad of ways. And there's this beautiful, big, everybody know it, free tool called Google. A lot of people say, hey, how could you do so and so? I said, follow me. How to do so and so and so in so and so. Type it into Google, hit send, and start reading. Start watching, start
So
listening.
guys,
It really is that simple to start.
It's really at your fingertips.
It really
Pretty
is.
much, yeah.
And so how you spend your fine, listen, watch all of the movies and watch all the fun stuff online, but spend some time learning. Spend some time building out your network and getting to know people who are smarter than you in certain areas.
Access.
Yeah.
I'll add to that, just spend some time building things, because it's easy to fall into the rut of search, learn, sit on the thing that you learn, ideate, rather than build something, even if you are not the builder. Part of networking is finding people in your network who can help you to build that thing. So if you come across an idea you've learned, let's say you learned how to use GP3, but you don't have the technical skill, finding people in your network, building something out. I wouldn't even say as an MVP, but even small projects as proof that, hey, I'm learning and I can produce with the things that I am learning. I think we fall off sometimes when it comes to actually producing, because it's really easy to get into the rut of consuming information. Everything is out there, freely available. There are MOOCs to the end of days, but there are very few persons who actually build and sell. And that is where, as a young entrepreneur, if you're aspiring to come into the field, that is going to be your golden mark. Build and sell. And it seems simple. Practically, it actually seems oversimplified, to be honest. But you realize the more you do this, that's where the gems are. Building, starting, selling. And selling not necessarily just the product that you've built or the application or the project, but selling the idea of what you're bringing to the table and the idea of you. So
And
I
that's on,
feel
that's
like
on, and that's on one level too, because I was at a Kingston Creative pitch competition on Friday, and two of the three entrepreneurs that won were around digital content, digital media, and I was very happy that happened because people understand that creating content is not only a career, but it's also a huge business. There is a massive opportunity and there's a massive craving for Caribbean content of all kinds and all types within our region and globally. And people are experimenting and doing things, whether it's a simple podcast or an email newsletter, or you're starting a video show, or you want to create an animation or a game. There is a massive opportunity to create this single thing, create this single business, and to make a crap ton of money. And so I don't want people to think that tech is just about code or no code. That there are a range of possibilities in the digital space, in tech, and I think we all have to be held responsible from here on in to let people know about the range of possibilities. It is not just about a code or no code. It's not just about getting a startup that requires a massive investment. There are there's such a huge middle of solopreneurs or startups or small businesses that are doing amazing things in the Caribbean and outside of the Caribbean. And we need to tell those stories. We need to show those people's faces. We need to get closer to those people to realize that there is a range and you can, within this whole global digital economy, that you can get your slice.
Yes, there's an opportunity for everybody.
Yeah, without question.
Absolutely. So, Rez, what advice would you give to investors who are looking to get involved in tech? So, Ingrid spoke up about a myriad of things happening, as well as Kadaipa. What would you say to persons looking out to say, I want to invest in tech?
Okay. So I'm going to give you my advice, which I've taken from so VMware is getting in the tech space. We've started a PE fund. We want to start a VC fund, and we don't know tech at all. We acknowledge that, and simply what we're doing is that we're tapping into the ecosystem that we just spoke about before. Kingston Beta, Global Shapers. We have a nice, vibrant ecosystem. Founders Institute,
Absolutely.
Gen Global.
Yep.
There are quite a number of them. So we're saying to investors, get into the community, get to these spaces, and just talk to people.
Yep.
And then they will certainly guide you. We know what we're looking for from an ROI standpoint, but but without that tech expertise, the best thing to do is to get in, talk to people. And then when you get in, you will have a fair idea in terms of concepts that will work, concepts that don't work. You get to understand the person, the community, those that have an entrepreneurial mind and those don't. And also to understand, the business model that they're using, the size of the addressable market, where they are in the life cycle. And, I think when you get in, you'll start to create a frame for decision making. And I think we're in the throes of doing that now. What I would say though to investors is that just understand that in tech that there is no winner, so to speak, right? When you go in, you really have to do some analysis. I was reading some statistics recently that close to half of the businesses in tech, they fail for various reasons.
Dead. 25% remain alive.
Exactly. So just understand that, and in as much as you hear some great ideas, just understand that for various reasons, sometimes there are ideas and companies that come to market before their time. So you really have to be patient, play the patient game. But I think also for VMware and myself is get to know the entrepreneurs and be their supporter. It is not about throwing cash at people and standing back and say, okay, I want a ROI of X%.
Amen.
You really have to be there providing the guidance, the
Amen.
support each and every day, the governance, talking them through concept, helping them to solve problems, which is quite exciting if you ask me.
I can see the excitement on your face, right?
Absolutely.
You spoke about the patience.
Yeah, you have to be very patient.
Yeah.
So, Adrian, what are some other key things that investors should look out for when considering investing in a tech company?
I'd say you have the traditional metrics. Fine, you need to look at that because you need to ensure that there's people are still expecting an ROI at a certain point. So you still need a business plan. You still need to understand what the technology is doing. So it can't just be you're building a robot or AI or whatever. There has to be some value generated that you can effectively communicate to different persons. It has to be centered on individuals, a customer. And that's extremely important. So even for us, we had initial issues with that, trying to explain what is this startup thing. Because saying, AI can be applied to anything. So what we pretty much do is we have specific labs focused on marketing, content creation, sports, finance, and other areas. And we target a problem in a way that individuals that we're supporting, who are the subject matter experts, can rely on our effectiveness and our tools. So we're not saying we're replacing you, we're saying we're making things easier for you, right?
So your approach is pretty much segmentation.
Yeah, so that they can understand fully what we're trying to do. So what's Uber doing, what's Amazon doing, it's very clear what the benefit of these organizations are. But you're not really focused on large cloud computing servers and automated edge computing and graph networks and that type of stuff. Jargon, I can get a ride where I want to get wherever I want for a relatively low cost. I can get whatever I want anywhere in the world in days or in one day. All right, so I think it's extremely important that tech persons still need to sell and communicate what they're doing. They call it soft skills, hard skills, all that stuff. But if you can't communicate the benefits, then nobody's going to buy into it.
Absolutely.
I think, if I can just jump in here, I think
Yes.
as well, we just started Rebel Ventures, which is basically like a culmination of everything that we've done for the last 15 years. And our approach to investing is a little bit different than what pervades out there. And so we, having been in the ecosystem for like 15 years, we've seen certain trends, and we've seen certain people like cycle from one to maybe even 3, 4, 5 startups. We've gathered a lot of data around that. And while it is typical for venture capital firms or PE firms to be going for, and they should, because they have to, between 10, 15, 50x, whatever it is, there is what I call a sweet middle of, and when we think about these companies that require, that are required to do the 10 or 50x, you think of the Googles and the Facebooks and whatever it is, right? And yet still we forget that for the most part, the world is run by small businesses. They're the largest employer of talent, and they're the ones that actually run the global digital economy, and that will continue to be the case. So there is for me that sweet middle that investors are missing: the solopreneurs, the startups that are looking at lucrative niches, or the small and medium-sized businesses that are looking a little bit differently. And so Rebel Ventures kind of look for those. And there are different ways of determining ROI. Suppose your ROI is, yes, fine, you may want to go IPO and make your money that way, or you may want to sell to a larger company that way. But there's also this beautiful thing called cash flow, and having a slice of cash flow that chips in and give you money every single week or every single month for a very, very long period of time. I love money, right? And I love seeing the cash come in that way. So for me, at Rebel Ventures, we're focused on
the sweet middle.
The sweet middle.
Wow. I like how you put that. So, what are some other potential rewards of investing in tech companies?
You mean outside of the money?
Yeah.
Because you're helping to create impact. You see, tech, without question, tech, we can't even think about tech as a separate industry anymore. Tech is enabling everything from, food, media, health, wellness, a whole range of different things. So if you want to look at how tech is integrating and infiltrating different industries, whereas travel, tourism, there are beautiful things that happen where you can change things for the better, change people's lives for the better, change industries, change communities. Tech for good is a very real thing in terms of just mobility. How do we change things where we maybe get from Kingston to Ochi quicker? How can we maybe get things delivered a lot faster? I'm sure everybody inside here will use our phones or laptops to order food and have it delivered to us in a period of time. That's a tech-enabled scenario. That's just making making life easier for us because it saves us time, it's convenient, and we can get the food we want in a short period of time. Those are little minutiae that we need to understand that is what tech can do for us on a daily basis in a very simple but powerful way. At least from my perspective.
From your
anyway.
perspective.
If I may add,
Right.
yeah, if I may add, so we live in the Caribbean, right? And we see there is so much inefficiency across the Caribbean space. So
Amen.
much. For example, you walk into a private doctor's office, you wait 4 hours.
Mm.
You go to a public sector organization, you wait 10 hours. Okay, you hear the goings already?
Yes.
Yeah,
Tech
yeah.
can solve a lot of that.
Absolutely.
So it can make our society a lot more productive
Absolutely.
and a lot more efficient. That's point one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ingrid said it a while ago, but I want to go one step below about impact. Adrian mentioned it takes sense to start a business.
Yeah.
Sense.
That's diversity and inclusion. Because it doesn't matter where you are in Jamaica, the most rural part of Jamaica, right? You can self-actualize, right? If you're a female, you can self-actualize. So even though we're talking up here in this conversation, I want the persons who are listening
Yes.
to ensure that there is a message to be sent to the high schools and the primary schools about, the job of the future is not only being a doctor and a lawyer, right? And, actually, it's actually cheaper to be a solopreneur than to be a medical practitioner. So you may spend, and I'm not saying you must aspire to be a medical doctor, far from, but you're gonna spend 7 years, a gazillion amount of money. When if you learn code free online, and a number of guys who are actually listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange and have created wealth for them, have gone that route. Just learn code and started a business. It doesn't mean that all business starters will be successful, far from. But if they stick to it, their outcomes. And I just want to ensure that as a society that we're kind of spreading that message to kind of get young people excited, of those opportunities from now. I know Godiva is kind of in the space. So Godiva, I want to hand to you to kind of get a perspective of what happened in the primary school and the high school.
All right. Very happy to even chime in there. I've been reflecting on what much of Adrian and Ingrid are saying, and one of the things that is very much apparent is that when you go into primary and high schools, the careers that they aspire to is still,
Traditional.
doctor, lawyer, Indian chief.
Right.
Yes, and we see this day to day in Steam House in terms of who we're engaging, and it begs the question: is it really a matter of these tools being readily accessible? Is that enough? Is it enough that the big bad internet is out there? There is democratization of all of these resources, and the mere fact is it's not. It is not enough to be in our bubble sometimes in Kingston and think that persons who are in Scots Hall in St. Mary have the slightest clue
Amen.
how they can become producers in this economy and participate in the sort of digital revolution that we are consistently seeing. No, what I do acknowledge that there are ways in which this technology is being used, even though young people oftentimes don't see it. And that is where Ingrid would have come in saying, hey, maybe you're not going to go code, but you know how to create content. There's a reason why young people are gravitating so much to TikTok, so much to Instagram, so much to Snapchat. They see their realities in those ways. They see less of themselves as a programmer. They see less of themselves handling big data. In fact, it was last year we were having an AI hackathon, and it was yeah, anybody can enter. And immediately at high school, primary school, and even tertiary level, you see people are self-eliminating from these high-value careers that they could really become very lucrative solopreneurs in. because the narrative that is still being sold is, hey, lawyers are the people who make money, and if I want to be trained, I'm going to have to become a lawyer, become a doctor. So it is incumbent on us to also make sure that the narrative that we're pushing in terms of tech and its accessibility extends beyond the metropoles and deeper in the region. One thing I love about Jamaica is a demo market. It's a demo market and it's a small market. Small often means that you can be nimble, yeah? And I want us to just picture this. What if we were nimble enough to ensure that every Jamaican child understands the opportunities in technology, and we build them out in a way that when you're thinking of building, you're not solving the inefficiencies in Jamaica, you're solving the inefficiencies that also exist in Belize, in Panama, in Uruguay, whatever it is, because it is lost on us that we are a part of a global economy and we can develop global skills. And even when you look at the industries like medicine and law and agriculture, oh my gosh, have you stepped out of Kingston recently? Like, you drive for 40 minutes past Manor Park, you immediately realize that Jamaica is more than these high-rise buildings that are coming up now. We have a very lucrative agricultural sector that can benefit from being more efficient.
Amen.
And unless we show persons that these are actual avenues, they will continue to live in these bubbles because we haven't done the due diligence of ensuring that the opportunities that exist are communicated in a way that they're relatable and they seem approachable.
Amen.
Yeah? We don't create enough approachable opportunities. So the market is wide open for us to understand that we can build Jamaica in a way that makes it clear to young people of their place and space in the world, and how being in Jamaica, having even like this tech background, even if you don't end up coding,
Yeah.
having just the ready skill is a launch pad to just being around anywhere in the world. And I say this, and the landscape has changed so much. I remember 10 years ago, like when I was in uni, it was one of the first times. Well, you remember this. You remember when we had like Google JJ. I'm just gonna call names. JJ GeoX was like a big thing 10 years ago in the tech space in Jamaica, because he was like the guy who worked at Google. But now we have persons from Jamaica who work at Google, who worked at LinkedIn, who worked at Facebook, who work at all of these companies.
Yep.
And I'm saying this to say the landscape has changed so much, but we need to do more in terms of letting people understand that, hey, this could be you, because there are other persons who have done it and they're doing it well.
You know, I find, if I can just jump in there,
Yes.
it's not just about letting the teenagers or in high school or college know. It's also letting their parents know, because that narrative around the lawyer, Dr. Indian chief, is straight out of or cultural context of family and neighborhood and what is seen, because they too do not understand the world that has changed and what is potential, and they're seeing, oh man, everybody's going to still need a lawyer without question. But you can also be a data privacy lawyer or a compliance lawyer within that specific space. So you can evolve. So I find that the stories that we tell and the interventions that we have for high school and college should also include the parents and the aunties and whatever it is who are not so as clued into the things.
I love that.
I absolutely agree, Ingrid. And thank you so much, Godiva. I believe that all of us here are movers and shakers in Jamaica, in the space. And I just want to know, what are we going to do to help to shift and change the narrative, to build more awareness? Because you made some very solid, valuable points. And VM Wealth is a big mover and shaker. And so is Steam House. And so is Star Apple. And so how can you, Ingrid, Adrian, Godiva, Rez, how can we all shift the narrative? Who wants to take it?
Okay. Ladies first.
Oh my, thank you, Rez. So I'll start off this conversation by saying that we need to be system thinkers. And being a system thinker is not easy to do, because it it has to be a long-term vision. I sit here across from Ingrid and I have so much respect for her because back in the day, when Ingrid would have been hosting all of these events around like Kingston
You're trying to
Beta.
call me old, and that.
Because earlier, yes.
No, he's the youngest one here.
And that low key call me old. Anyway, I said, but I'm over 40 pill this morning, right? But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, man. But 15 years is no joke to build that ecosystem, and so you have to have a long-term vision to be able to do that. It's hard to have a long-term vision when we are dealing with short-term problems. So our ethos as Simpos is simple. We have a long-term vision, minimum 10 years. Minimum 10 years.
Yeah.
Minimum. Because we understand on the ground what needs to happen is that we have to build people ground up. And we're going through in this ecosystem where we see HR managers complaining about the quality of talent that they experience. We see like fall offs in terms of young people who leave high school and are not employable. So it is on Steamhouse and to just ensure that we stick to the hard graft and be system thinkers and ecosystem builders, because they understand that an educated population is more than likely to be a productive population and a wealthy population. We believe in wealth. We believe that we must make money,
Of course.
but we have to do the hard work of laying the foundation and laying it solid so that we can build on top of that. And then, just as how Kingston Beta would have incubated so much of the entrepreneurs and successful businesses that we see now in Jamaica, we hope to incubate them at a much younger level and watch them grow, because we can get there where we need to be when we talk about Vision 2030 or any other vision that we want to aspire to, but it is going to take ecosystem and not just like a single person. So that's where we're at.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think Godiva kind of raised something which is very important about being system thinkers. So the VM group, we have a mantra called, that it's transforming lives, right? When we think about it, we can't solve all the problems. And oftentimes I confuse my team by running after every single problem, because there are many problems to be solved. I think that where we can play a role, VM World, VMIL, the VM Foundation, the VM Group, is just to leverage what we have, our core competence. Our core competence is, I would say, investment dollars, and providing the coaching and mentorship, touching persons in the high school, touching the parents, as Ingrid said before. And, as those entrepreneurs, and I'm taking the entrepreneur line at the moment, want to list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, we can provide that avenue. But I think we want to lead with capital, we want to lead with market access, and also in whatever way we can continue to build the ecosystem. Because it is the ecosystem, it's not one player, it is the ecosystem that's going to drive this innovation economy that we need. And so, when I look in the ecosystem, I want to say, well, how can I help? How can I partner? And we've been partnering with Global Shapers, Kingston Beta, Ingrid. How can we partner with some of these organizations to us achieve the same objectives? So I think we'll continue to do that. And, as things, materialize in the future, we'll pivot accordingly.
Thank you so much, Rez.
All right, amazing. Completely agree with Godiva, Rez, Ingrid, in terms of that. I look at the last 15 years of my life and what I had to go through. So I started structured, you go school, you go university, you do this schooling and all that stuff. Didn't work out exactly, but I was able to be successful, as successful that if you measure yourself more traditional, like what mommy and daddy say you're supposed to be doing. But my dream was always to be an astrophysicist.
Oh.
To discover aliens. Right.
To
And
discover
that's,
alien.
yeah, I want to find
Alright.
aliens, I want wormholes and all that stuff. And that came from science fiction. So you watch TV and, TVJ and used to have like sci-fi stuff, Saturdays and cartoons. Anyway, so with all that said, I realized at a certain point, all right, this is not really what I want to do. I'm in finance. I've reached a point of a certain level of success. But not really happy. I don't feel like I've achieved something or really contributed what I want to achieve to Jamaica or the global world, right? I said, okay, what do I love fundamentally? I said, I love astrophysics. So, all right, how can I make money off astrophysics? It's data, it's models, same stuff applied, same stuff VM does to optimize what they're doing for their stakeholders. The same thing that we can use in every other industry. Astrophysics use the largest computers in the world, processing power. Everybody needs a computer. Everybody needs that technology. So saying, even though I'm not a astrophysicist PhD that stuff, I find that stuff online. I bother people on LinkedIn that are professors and PhDs and ask them for help. I get free textbooks. NASA gives you all their data for free.
Whoa.
You can actually work for free for them if you
You
want.
hear that, guys? So
Yeah,
if you didn't
reach out.
know, NASA,
Yeah,
Google,
yeah,
what else, Ingrid? All these places
all of them
online gives you
Free.
information for free.
free.
Yeah.
And free and up to date. I think that's important. So I feel like academics today, primary school, high school, you're kind of stuck. They need to update in terms of what's going on. These entities that are private, literally, they will discover something 3 months ago and they will give you access to it today to not just use it, but break it and fix it and use it for your own purposes. So that democratization that we're talking about is fueling innovation across every single inch. And I keep saying, I really think Jamaica has the highest level of creativity per square mile of any country in the entire world. I'm biased
Word.
by that,
Word
obviously,
to that.
but I look to, there's probably another individual who wants astrophysics and they're being told you can't do it in Jamaica. It doesn't make sense. You have to go to Stanford or Harvard or something like that, or you can't get money off of that. They're there, we just don't know where they are. And it's our responsibility through ecosystem building to show them that you can do whatever you want. Technology allows you to expand yourself. You're no longer one thing anymore. You could be a doctor, content creator, rally
Multi-hyphenate.
driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I owe technology to that as well as individuals that reach out to us, email. I answer every single LinkedIn message I get. Every
Oh.
single one I've ever gotten. Just
So,
reach out to us.
so guys,
Yeah.
if you are listening and you have an interest to leverage opportunities in tech, we have some experts here. They're willing, to communicate with you. Just reach out to them. Adrian, where can we find you?
He's on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
www.starappleinterns.com.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a replacement for myself. That's why we're doing all of this. I'm
See,
trying
guys,
to find somebody.
opportunities.
Yeah. So please reach out.
Godiva.
All right, so I am Godiva Golding everywhere, steamhouse.io, and we are aggressively looking for go-getting talent. Let's just throw that out there. Jamaicans are a special breed, and I feel like we can build something very powerful together. So reach out. I'm always down.
And if you're
Ingrid?
open to, like us at Silicon Caribbean Rebel Ventures, in terms of reimagining business and wealth creation for Caribbean people and helping to future-proof the Caribbean, then you can definitely reach out to me at ingrid@rebelv.co. Or again, I'm everywhere on Twitter and the whole 9 yards. So anybody who is interested, whether you're a solopreneur, you have a startup, you have a small business or medium business, and you want to either leverage tech some more to make that business more significant and successful, and you need whether your mindset change, you understand business model, you need some talent, you need some tech solutions, you need some money.
Yeah.
Holla.
Holla at Ingrid if you want the money. And if you want even more money, holla at the big man
All
himself
right,
here.
exactly.
From PM
The one with
Wealth.
the biggest wallet in here.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter. I'm on IG.
Mhm.
As Rezworth Burchenson.
Mhm.
We receive 2, 3, 5 pitch decks a week. I love going through pitch decks. So as long as you're so organized, we can have a conversation. We meet persons pitching every week, and and actually it's quite exciting.
It is.
I must say that when we decided to get deeper into the space, 2, 3 times a week we used to meet at Cannonball in New Kingston, and I was just amazed at the courage that there is this entrepreneurial spirit that is growing,
Yep.
and VM Group wants to be a part of that to make the impact that Ingrid said before. We want to be a part of that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rez. Guys, it has been a very thought provoking episode, an episode filled with so much information, so much gems. Guys, opportunities are here locally in tech. So you need to ensure that you check out the ecosystem, the tech ecosystem here in Jamaica. It's amazing. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much to my special guests, Adrian, Ingrid, Godiva, and Rezworth. Tune in next week. And remember, for all your wealth management needs, just call us at 876-960-5000 or email us at wealthinfo@myvmgroup.com. Podcast production courtesy of Infinity Media. And don't forget, you can build your wealth with us at VM Wealth Management. Advice, solutions, performance.